voice every day to the world and to your heart. Open up your eyes and let your spirit start. Say yes to the dreams you hold inside. Let your soul be your guide.
In today's complex mortgage world, finding the right direction can be challenging. That's where Lighthouse Advisors comes in. With over 25 years of experience, we provide fractional leadership and executive oversight, guiding companies through transitions, growth, and innovation. From IMBs to brokers to credit unions to tech firms, our team of seasoned professionals is here to shine a light on solutions, ensuring your business thrives in every environment. At Lighthouse Advisors, we don't just guide, we empower. Together, let's create a ripple of success across the industry. Email us today at laura@lighthouseadvisors.com. Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Wednesday Wisdom. Today, we are joined by the amazing Cindi Harris. She is the Senior Valuation Consultant at Wallet Solutions. Cindi, thank you so much for joining us today, and we cannot wait to hear some of your wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. It's been a long time since we talked.
I know, and you know what, everyone? Cindi and I probably haven't seen each other personally in person for a few years, but we still stay connected on LinkedIn. And that's the beauty of the time we live in now, right? Is even if we don't see each other at conferences or things, we can still feel connected and continue to have a relationship. So thank you for that. Awesome. First question. On Wednesday Wisdom, we love to take, as we're going through life, we are learning, gaining knowledge, getting lessons from people, from podcasts, from different things we read and who we associate to. And Cindi, I'd love for you to share with all of us, what is a piece of advice or something that you learned that really has made a positive, or even if it wasn't a positive, but just an impact on your life, and how did it affect you?
Sure. I have a wonderful mentor. His name is Chuck Moretu, and we were partners together in a business back in the mid 2000s. And I was a much younger, less mature leader at that point. And I was the chief operating officer, and I felt like I was carrying everything on my shoulders. It was more about all the responsibility that I had. And he really got me to look at things differently. It was about serving and collaborating and winning together and empowering others rather than feeling like it was all, it was all on you, because the collaboration and empowerment and building other leaders is what it's all about. It's really about serving and not feeling just the weight of the world. But you don't win that.
I love that so much. And for everyone that's at an early stage in your life, please listen to what Cindi just said, because you and I can relate to that same thing of, I understand that, because I felt like, to your point, the same thing with that weight on our shoulders. But you were blessed very much to have that mentor that kind of allowed you to see our job isn't to take on everything, and our job isn't to ever get to the point that we feel that weight on us. Our responsibility is to develop, empower, and grow more leaders. And I'm sure, and I'd love to even hear, like, I know for myself, the greatest joy I have is people that I worked with years and years ago to see how well they're doing now, right? They're flying. It's like our children. They're flying on their own and they're out there. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, and that's amazing. And I definitely have some special people in my life that I see how much they're contributing today, and just how awesome that they're doing, and that we still connect and we still get together and we still reminisce about, where we were back, back when. And it's just seeing people thrive is the best reward possible.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I think that's the beauty of, of our industry, is that there really are so many special connections that even if you're not connected at this time, number one, you never know if you'll be connected in the future. Like, this industry is very small that you never know when your paths are going to cross again. So always keep those connections. They're very, very, very valuable, right? But yeah, it's wonderful, and we have to keep those connections for those people and continue to help them, because sometimes people need a connection to someone else, or they need just today. I was working with a client that needed help for a VA underwriter. I literally reached out to someone that I no longer work with, but I was like, hey, I know you know this. What's the answer to this, right? And that's how we help each other, as we continue to thrive together. I love that. So, Cindi, we spoke about leadership, right? And how we continue to develop, and the lessons that we're always learning about how to be better leaders, right? You never fully master that. It's ever changing. But I'd love to hear from you. What do you think one of the most important traits of a leader? What kind of advice can we give out to everyone out there listening?
Well, there are so many, right? Great traits for a leader, the resilience and accountability and vision and strategy and all those things. But I think it really boils down to the number one thing is integrity, because you need to do the right thing even when it's hard, and essentially all the time, because people are watching you. And integrity builds trust, and trust is foundational. So you can't build anything without a foundation, and trust is what that is. And you get that from demonstrating and modeling integrity every step of the way. So that's the best trait.
It's the foundation of everything, like you said, right? And your comment about people are always watching, that is very accurate, like very accurate. And listen, we've been through many cycles of our industry. We've been through many different difficult situations. And that whole thing about continuing to be a leader, to your point, making the right decisions, holding that integrity and that trust, and showing people that time and time again, these people are entrusted to us their entire lives, their families, the house, the payments, the responsible for all of that, right? And when you say, like, when you ask someone, well, what's the type of person that you want to work for? You want to work for someone that you're entrusting your entire family over to this leader's decisions and to this leader of how they're going to act, right? So everything you just said, that begins with that integrity and that trust. It really does. So yes, I agree with you that all those other things, yes, you're going to add all those other things on. But if you have a broken foundation of a level of trust and integrity, you can't add anything on to that, because there will always be this second guessing of, the last time that happened, I know what the outcome was. Like, I know what that was. And you don't want that situation. You really don't want that. So I love that. So to a newer leader listening to this, how do you build that? Like, what's your recommendation of how do you build and show your team? Like, what's your recommendation there?
It's really about modeling consistent behavior, right? You show up the way you say you're going to show up. You do the things you say you're going to do. And then people will start to trust you. Trust just doesn't happen. It's not magic. You don't say, trust me, please trust me, and expect people to do that. They want to see you continuing to show up with that consistency and just being a really great role model. And we all fail at times. And when we do, we need to own it. because that then also shows the vulnerability that allows them to do, to be vulnerable themselves. It's like creating that safety where they feel okay to learn and grow. And you don't ever want fear to be a part of your business.
Yeah, agreed. And as you were speaking, I was even thinking about when we speak of leaders, that doesn't mean that this only applies to the person with a certain title or, things like that. I'm actually thinking, let's take this down to the loan officer level, right? Let's take this down to that. That same trust is exactly the same, whether it's with a borrower, whether it's with a realtor, whether it's with a referral partner. If we say we're going to do something, it's exactly the same situation. You have to lead in that situation too. And I always say this, that one of the biggest things I see about our industry is people are like, well, I don't have the answer yet, so I'm just not going to call them back and let them know. No, even if you don't have the answer, you still need to call them back and say, Mrs. Johnson, I mentioned that I was going to call you back at 3:00. Want to let you know I still don't have that answer yet, but I will be following up and I will be back with you to give you at least an update by 6. Like that is leading.
Yes.
And our clients and referral partners and everyone needs to trust that you said you're going to call back at 6. You are going to call back at 6, whether you have the answer, whether it's the answer they want to hear, don't want to hear, or you don't have it yet. You still have to call them back at 6. And I think that is a really valuable lesson for everyone to hear, because to your point, people are checking that off. Like they're like, oh, they said they were going to call at 6, and oh, they called at 5:55, and they told me what the latest update was, right? But when they're sitting there at 6:10 and at 7:00 and at 8:00 and they still haven't heard, and then they're saying to the wife, should I text them? Should I call? Do you think there's a problem? Do you think I'm going to get denied? Do you think we're not going to get the house? Like all of this stuff is happening all because you didn't call at 6.
Exactly. It's showing up. You do what you say you're going to do. It's so simple and it means so much.
It does. I mean, listen, in our own lives, right? We can remember when we worked with, whether it was a contractor or whether it was a realtor or whoever, whatever relationship, we can remember the people that did it and the people that didn't, right? We remember those people long after those transactions. We still remember. It's the same thing for all of us in how we give that care. So thank you for mentioning that, because I think that's a great lesson for everyone. Okay. So Cindi, my final question, and my most favorite, because I truly believe that when we speak things out into the world, it plants the seed of things to come. So I want to hear from you. I want to hear, if we got the magic wand and there's no restrictions and no limitations, what would your moonshot be? What will be the thing that you would do if you didn't even have to hesitate that it would happen?
So I'm going to call it my big, hairy, audacious goal.
A BHAG. Okay.
Yeah, a BHAG. Only it's not all that big and hairy. For me, it would be leaving a legacy of someone who builds community, because I think community in the world today is so lacking, right? So many of us work at home. We talk over texts and emails versus that personal connection. We need to break bread, maybe even drink wine, but be outside, do things together. And we don't do that enough. And I think it's bad on our mental, state. It's bad for our health in general, just losing that human connection. And so that's what I would love to do, is to be able to figure out how to continue building community, whether it starts small and is able to.
I was going to say, what's your plan? What are you thinking?
I do small things now. And for the last year and a half or so, I have a women's group that walks on Saturday mornings, and we go to brunch. And it's, there's always a group of people that show up. It's different every time. But we do that. There's our book clubs. I've got a business book club, and
I saw that. I actually saw that you're doing, just so
yeah.
you know, I mail all of my clients on reasonable hospitality. That is a thing that I do. And I'll tell you, I'm going to give the shout out. Karina Carter from CMS. She was the first person to give me that book. And I love that book. And I literally get hard copy. I write something inside every one of them and I mail it out to my clients as part of my onboarding process. So I saw that's one of the books.
Yes, it's one of my absolute favorites. I do the same thing. When someone says, "Can you recommend a book?" I recommend that one because it just translates across any kind of business, and it's super, super important. And I think, too, it's talking about, a lot of it's in the restaurant world, and with that, you're looking at people coming together, right? And you're creating great experiences around people sharing a meal together. And it's a very simple thing, right? Book clubs, walking clubs, running clubs, things that just bring us together. On LinkedIn, you see a lot of it where people get together and they have their mastermind groups or their groups of supporting each other. And that's really important. When you're too far apart to be in person, at least you're still seeing each other's face and you're talking and just sharing and collaborating.
It's actually interesting. It's one of the reasons why I've had a podcast since 2019. I started it to challenge myself, but when 2020 hit and we all went remote, I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep doing a podcast because I get to speak to people that maybe I don't normally get to speak to, right? So I get to expand my sphere, right? To where, yes, I'm dealing with my day-to-day people I always deal with, but then I get to speak to some people maybe I haven't spoken to in a long time, or someone I just find interesting, And so to your point, and this has been a big word with me lately, we have to be intentional. To your point, right? We have to recognize that community is important, whatever community means to you, right? And it could be very different depending on who you are, where you are, what you have going on in your life. But to your point, as humans, we need it. Like, we are not meant to be alone. We are not meant to only speak to computer screens. We are not meant to be completely digital. Like, that is not how we were created. And I really love that is your BHAG that you are doing, and you're going to continue to spread that. And for everyone listening out there, understand all of us should be doing this in whatever way that is, whether it's being part of a community, starting a community, whatever. It's really important. I'm glad that you brought that up.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Cindi, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with all of us. We wish you all the best. And Cindi, tell us what you're doing. I want to hear a little bit. What are you up to nowadays? And how can people reach you to be part of whatever you're working on? Share.
Oh, so I've got a handful of things I'm working on. And LinkedIn is a great place to reach me. But I am an advisor for GoSource. They're an offshore company. They do a lot of work for mortgage processing, valuation, medical billing, and things like that. I work directly with their CEO. Then, as you said earlier, I'm a senior consultant for Wallet Solutions, premier educator in valuation for all market participants, not just appraisers. And I've started a Freedom Business Alliance with Jason Bonk, and that's a group for executives or business owners. It's faith-based for people who want to integrate their faith into their business. So we also cover things like, accounting and strategy and innovation, just the AI, all of the things that you need, right, to run your business. And then I'm an advisor for Valor Valuations. They are putting together a gig platform for veterans and their spouses. So everyone on the panel, everyone on the panel there will be a veteran or a spouse. And then my last thing is my passion project, which is People Move Mountains Consulting, and that's really focused on culture, people, growing new leaders, And, you know, so I think you can hear the common themes, right? In all of the things that I'm working on, it's all about people, leadership, and valuation.
I love that. And that makes total sense, right? Because we do our best work when we understand our mission and we follow and align ourselves with things that all tie to that mission. I certainly am at the same stage that you are, that's kind of all of the things that I touch are things that are all tying to the mission that I am working towards. So we are blessed that we can be at that stage that we get to decide that. And I'll use my word again, and we are intentional in that. So that is a beautiful thing. And we wish you all the unlimited success in everything that you're doing. And thank you for always being, a ray of hope and positivity. I see it, I recognize it, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. And same back to you. And I always think about your book, Say Yes Every Day.
I'm still saying yes.
Yeah.
I'm still doing it. It still applies. All right, Cindi, thank you so much for everything. We wish you all the best, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.